Previously, we created a pull request with a branch that was ahead of one commit and behind two commits from the main branch. So now when we try to actually pull the changes from the branch, we've got a problem. We've got what we call a conflict. A conflict because the remote branch has actually one commit ahead that we don't get in here. So we would like to actually deal with that first example, that first conflict. Then after we are going to look at different other conflicts. Okay, so here I can see on the message that we have divergent branches and we need to specify how to reconcile them. So what I have here, I got 3 different commits that I want to push, and I got one divergent on the remote branch. So if I type git pull here and dash dash rebase, and here we can see that it's successfully rebased and we were able to actually pull the project. So what we did in here, we pulled the remote branch alternate little feature, which is actually remotely here. So if I update here, nothing changed, all right? Because here the branch has been updated, but locally it was not updated because I reverted a commit before. So what we have here is the case where we pull and we rebase at the same time. So now, if you want to know if you are up to date, you can type git status and you can see that your branch is up to date with origin alternate little feature. Let's start again and let's give a better example, a simple example of a conflict and how to resolve this conflict. When you merge two branches, Git tries to move the changes from one branch to another. If the same part of the file was changed in both branches, Git may not be able to combine the change automatically. In this case, this is what happened. Git will report a conflict and it will ask you to resolve it manually. So let's try to simulate a conflict. We are going to create two branches. So the first one, it's going to be branch 1. Okay, and once I got branch 1, let's say that I would like to add here a title, and this title will be branch 1 content. Okay, I'm going to save this change which we have here. And if I'm on VS Code, here I can type view show source control, and we can see here that we've got some changes, and we can see that on line 4 I added this. Okay, so view source control helps you actually to have a visualizer inside VS Code to look at the changes that happen. Another tool you can use is also GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop, it's a software that helps you to deal with GitHub visually. It's exactly the same as what you have inside your terminal. But here we can see that we got a change on the app.view. So here I added my repository. And here on the history, I got the exact same history that I showed you on GitHub, which are actually all the commits of the actual branch. So now I'm going to save git add. There we go. And I'm going to commit here, change on branch 1. There we go. And now what I want to do is to switch on a new branch, and this new branch is going to be branch 2. And now that I am on branch 2, I would like to change this content, which we have up here. So I would put branch 2 content. There we go. Now let's get back to branch 1. And when I come back to branch 1 here, it says that I have some local changes that I got a commit. So again, I can type git add and I can type git commit here, change on branch 2, and there we go. So now I can switch git checkout branch 1. And when I come back, we can see that we got a different, actually a different title. So if I type git switch branch 2, we can see that I got this content. And if I type git switch branch 1, I got this content. On branch 1, I'm going to try to merge branch 2. So I'm going to type git merge, and here I can type branch 2. If you don't find actually the name of your branch, you can use tab. So you type the first letter, and then you use tab, and now I know it's branch 2. So what's going to happen in here, when I'm going to type enter, is that I'm going to have what we call a conflict. Because suddenly I can see that on branch 1 and branch 2, I got two different titles. And those two different titles here, I have to resolve them. I have to work on what is the version I want to take. And inside VS Code, I can do it. I can use the resolve in merge editor. Inside GitHub Desktop, here I got an alert. And this alert tells me that I can open Visual Studio Code, or I can click here and use directly the branch 1 or branch 2, which is really cool. So if we come back in here, we can see that we've got this special here arrows with head, with the current change, so the branch on merge 1, and the incoming change, the merge on the branch 2 that we are trying to merge right now into the branch 1. So what we can do here is just to use the resolve in merge editor, which is very useful. I can also use VS Code, or I can do it directly inside the terminal in here. So let's just give the example of the merge editor. If I can click here, so I'm going to remove this, I can see that I got the change and it's asking me to what to choose. Here in VS Code, here we can see that the conflict has been resolved because I can approve the merge, I can complete the merge, but it's not done yet. So there are several options to do it. Either we click on Resolve in Merge Editor, and it's going to open for us here the merge editor, and we can click on Complete Merge, which will actually change everything on branch 1 with what we've got on branch 2. And by doing this on VS Code, we've got a confirmation. So here I'm going to click on Abort Merge. I'm going to abort the merge, and I'm going to come back to resimulate the change. So here we see that it didn't work, and I came back to branch 1. So I'm going to type again merge branch 2. Otherwise, what you can do is what I do all the time is using directly here the UI. So here I can say that I would like to accept the incoming change, which is blue, which comes from branch 2. In green, this is what is actually on the actual branch. So I'm going to click here on accept incoming change, and suddenly I merged branch 2. And now if we come back here, it's exactly the same. So I'm going to abort again the merge. I'm going to start again. Otherwise, what you can do is here in GitHub Desktop, use the little arrow here and say, hey, I want to use the branch 1 or the branch 2. So if I click here on branch 1 and I come back, we will see here after the continue merge that what's going to happen basically is that it's going to take the content of the branch 1. So I'm going to abort the merge again. So let's say that I really want to have branch 2. Here I can have it there. What I need to do just after that is to either continue to merge, either in command line to add everything and commit. So here I'm going to finish by GitHub Desktop. I'm going to click on here, there we go, successfully merge branch 1 in branch 2. I'm going to come back in here and we can see that VS Code updated branch 1. So what I could do here at that point, you already know, git add, git commit, git push. Let me show it to you directly from GitHub Desktop. Of course, branch 1 doesn't exist from here. So I got actually an invitation to push branch 1 to the repository. Otherwise, I can still open it into Visual Studio Code, show it in Finder, or view on GitHub. If I click on view on GitHub, of course, here I got the repository itself. So I'm going to close this. And what I'm going to do here is to click on publish branch, and we can see that it's pushing directly the branch to the repository. So if we go on history, we can see that branch 1 has more history. So we got the changes here, and we got suddenly the merge of the changes. And if I come back here, we can also have the option to create a pull request or preview a pull request. And if I click, of course, on create a pull request, I'm going to have the pull request opened in here. So most of the time when you have conflicts, you can deal with them into the command line inside your editor or inside a tool like GitHub Desktop, which is very useful. You gotta be careful because when you merge a branch into another one, probably it will add some element or delete some other, and you don't want to have mixed element. The last thing, if you have bugs between files and you would like to come back to the previous version, one trick, which is really easy to do, is to come back on your GitHub repository and just copy paste the previous file into the current branch, so you are sure that you are getting the file directly from the main branch. Another option is to do what we call cherry pick, which is actually to select the commit that you want into a branch or to not select the commit that you don't want.